Upstairs, my mother called out that dinner is done. My father takes one last shovel of earth, turns it over the side of the excavation, and what? Really? Really, Trent?
My eye itches, sorry.
In a single incredible motion, crawls out of the hole simply by pressing the sole of his boot to the lip of the pit and moving his whole body upward, walking right past me, right up the stairs.
Right up the stairs.
He was always a tall... Is someone at the door? I thought I heard someone knocking at the door. Angular man, as the remaining pictures of him suggest, and to this day I can clearly conjure the marvelous image of my father's long, long legs, striding over me as he emerged from the hole he was to spend years digging beneath our house. And that needs to stay over here, because there's lots of clicky. And now I gotta sneeze.
Strawberries! Damn it!
Apart from him, there were three of us. My mother, my younger brother, and myself. Thank you. Pick.
Mom!
There are many things about my mother I do not understand. She first found my father attractive. She admitted to me many years later because of how unusual he was. He had come to the Midwestern industrial town and secured a job at the same factory where my mother was working. Though a practical man, he read constantly and voraciously in subjects ranging from engine repair to philosophy, a habit instilled in him he had claimed by his own parents. This is all my father ever said of his family beyond us. Any further inquiry into the subject caused him to leave the room or bring up some other pressing issue. Mother once theorized that father had run away from home.
He ran away. Far, far
Whatever
away.
his reasons for leaving his family behind, my father did not wait too long before beginning a new one. I was born only a few months after my parents were married. Within a few years, father made enough money that my mother could stay home and watch over me, and not too long after, my brother. Then one night, when my brother was perhaps only a year old, father came home, pulled a brand new shovel from the back of his pickup truck, and descended into the basement where he began to dig.
To hide everybody's bodies.
At first he told mother that he was preparing to put down a cement floor, suggesting a prelude to a full or partial renovation of the house. As to how the movements of adults were still largely mysterious to me, and I do not know the
Specifics.
He still can't say Pacific.
Specific. Yes!
Circumstances under which mothers realized this motive was untrue.
You dumbass. Sorry. You can call me that word and you don't defend him. Or me. You don't defend me.
Because I love him.
I'm trying to make myself cry. It's not working. Just wait. Just wait. Just wait.
That's a light tap.
You got me right in the cheek I bit earlier.
Nor do I know exactly what transpired when father told mother that they must go to the basement to discuss the matter closer to its source. For after the door shut behind them, my brother and I were left alone in the house.
Ow. See, I told you. He's going to kill the mom. Ow, you made me shed one tear. Oh, you suck.
My brother cried most of the night while I lay in my bed, pillows pressed to my ears. Next day, my mother reappeared, quietly prepared our meals, and then locked herself in her bedroom shortly before father returned home and commenced digging once again.
Once again.
This is a lot of reading. My father, for his part, stopped sleeping in the bedroom with her, instead taking to the basement, a decision which coincided with the first signs of his terrible metamorphosis.
Metamorphosis? What? What do you mean?
Ugh. Perhaps it was this general evidence of wear, the change in skin tone and his subsequent emaciation, that made him look taller, as if his height increased in proportion to the depth of his project in the basement. Meanwhile, my mother put my brother into preschool and sent me to a latchkey program while she worked to support us. In what seemed a deliberate contrast to my father, she grew somehow darker and smaller.
She turned into... I don't know what she turned into.
My father dug uninterrupted in the basement for at least a decade, and once I started high school, he did not even leave the basement to join us for dinner. Then my mother left him.
Ha! Wait, what do you mean left him?
Father was sufficiently enveloped in his life's task that there was no need to replay the arguments from my childhood. Whatever desire he once had to keep us home with him had apparently fallen away, lost in the depths of that pit.
What's in that pit? What's in that long,
On her
dark
own,
hole?
Mother seemed to physically decompress, to become less bowed. She spoke more, laughed more. She had friends and lovers. We did not see my father at all after we left. On the day we left for good, he did not even come out of the basement, though by that point it was questionable how easily he could get through the doorway, so tall he had grown. It was not until many years later that my brother suggested we pay a return visit to our father's house.
You dumb bastard.
Needless to say, my brother and I had different experiences of our early home life.
What does that mean?
My brother was young enough when my father began digging that seemed to him an indifferent fact of life. Click, 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 click. Okay. It seemed obvious to me that something was wrong with our home. Its wrongness was screamed, I thought, by the chilly terseness with which our mother moved through it, returning home from work in the late afternoon, serving meals, and retiring to her bedroom. The wrongness was screamed, of course, by my father, who, after losing his job at the factory, spent nearly all day in the basement, emerging at irregular intervals to eat and use the toilet. This is to say nothing of the physical changes he underwent as time went on.
So he doesn't take a dump or anything? He doesn't eat?
I'm pretty sure he uses the bathroom. But enough of that. The wrongness was screamed by my own actions. The heavy worry I felt that any moment the fragile equilibrium of our home would be upset. And my brother's friends, which witnessed the terrifying truth of our family situation. A situation...
I'm sorry, I need a footrest.
That's my drawer!
That feels bad.
That's my drawing drawer! Close it and get your foot off.
I don't want to sit like this, and I should get my foot off that.
Yeah. Where was I? A situation that I myself could not begin to articulate, but which I felt ashamedly that an outsider would. Of course, my brother, young as he was, saw nothing wrong with inviting his friends to our home and even taking them down to the basement to see what he called, after our father's example, I believe, the renovations.
Dumbass, he's gonna get eaten. Aha.
The friends never asked to return to the basement after my brother took them down there. Some of them quietly deigned to never return to our house at all, much to my relief, though my brother was often disappointed. I recall only one instance when my brother was perhaps 7, one of his playmates made a scene.
I would have slapped him. He made a scene. What kind of scene?
It's when those sneezes are stuck.
Okay. I believe my brother's friend came from a religious family, which may have been part of a problem, but they may also... Thank you. May also be something I recognize only due to my own biases, yes. You must sneeze so you can read. At any rate, through his cosmetology.
His cosmology.
Cosmology. Yes, indeed.
Was different from my own. He at least shared some of my anxieties when he attempted to explain to my brother that our father's project in the basement was deeply unnatural.
He's the devil.
I emerged from the living room because down the hall I could hear crying. I knew that my brother had a friend over and so was prepared for the worst. The two boys stood outside the door to the basement, which still stood open. My brother looked up as I approached, at a loss as to how to comfort his weeping companion.